but they bought it labeled as a Swiss cheese philodendron, which was really confusing, and people start posting other names there and other plants like Monstera Borgiana and Philodendron Little Hope, and nobody knew anything anymore, and people were confusing and people were questioning their very own existence. Hi friends, so today we're going to tackle one of the most heated polemics in the plant community, the difference between a split-leaf philodendron and the Monstera Deliciosa. And there's so much confusion around this topic that even Google gives you conflicting results when you search for it. So this polemic has been going on for a while, for forever actually, but it got my attention when I saw this picture posted on a Facebook plant group. And the person was asking if this was a Monstera Deliciosa or a split-leaf philodendron. And to me, it was kind of obvious that this is a Monstera Deliciosa, so I thought that was it. But then I started reading the comments. So while most people were sure this was a Monstera Deliciosa, there were people that were sure that this was a split-leaf philodendron. And other people were sure that actually a split-leaf philodendron and a Monstera Deliciosa are different names for the same plant. And then there are other people who were sure that actually split-leaf philodendrons don't even exist at all. That's not all. So I was confused and I started to question everything I know, and other people are doing the same. So maybe if this is actually a philodendron, we are wrong about other plants too. So I posted this picture because I got this labeled as a split-leaf philodendron and I thought it was another plant, but maybe, you know. And somebody posted this picture of a plant that we all know as Monstera andersonii, but they bought it labeled as a Swiss cheese philodendron, which was really confusing, and people start posting other names there and other plants like Monstera Borgiana and Philodendron Little Hope, and nobody knew anything anymore, and people were confusing and people were questioning their very own existence. Let's all take a deep breath here. So I did a lot of research and I actually read the more than 200 comments on the post, and I think I got to the bottom of this. So bear with me. Let's start with the Monstera Deliciosa, the plant that the person posted, because that's the conclusion that we all got in that post. Like 80% of people agree that this is a Monstera Deliciosa. The problem is, in the past, this plant was known as a split-leaf philodendron. So that's why people were confusing, because back in the day when monsteras were not a trend on Instagram, people used to know this as a split-leaf philodendron. But today, most people know this plant as a Monstera Deliciosa, and this is also the scientific name of it. But that's another thing that is very confusing about monsteras, and it was really confusing for me in the beginning. So in the beginning, I saw this beautiful picture of monsteras on the internet. And then when I got to the store to get one, I would see this plant that looked really different from the other one. And I was wondering, like, are they even the same plant? And the answer, yes. What happened with the Monstera is that it goes to different stages throughout their lives. So let me show you. So this is a very young Monstera Deliciosa. You see the leaves are very plain and it actually looks like a philodendron. There's no holes, no splits, no fenestrations. And then this one is a slightly older but still really young and untamed Monstera Deliciosa, and you can see it started to get some fenestrations and some holes. These holes inside of the leaves are called fenestration. And the way the Monstera gets it, and this was something that was confusing for me, it's not that the old leaves that are all plain are going to suddenly poke holes inside it. The new leaves are being born with those holes. So with time, the Monstera will grow more and more fenestrated leaves. And this, for instance, is a picture of a more mature Monstera. You can see that it has lots of fenestration, but it also has the splits. And this is a picture of a very old and mature Monstera. It grew a lot of leaves with lots of fenestrations and splits. So these 4 plants are actually the same plants that are going through different stages in their lives. So that's the Monstera Deliciosa. Let's talk about the split leaf philodendron. What plant is this? So I did some research, and the split leaf philodendron is actually this plant. It's very different from Monstera. It grows in a similar way, with leaves getting more and more split over time, but for instance, it will never have the fenestration. There are the holes inside the leaves. And there are the differences too. So when you look at the base, at the stem, both plants look really different. The Monstera, it looks like the plants are coming from the inside of the nodes, and the split leaf philodendron looks the plant are coming out of this larger stem. But there is another very disturbing thing that I learned about the split leaf philodendron. What I learned is the split leaf philodendron is actually not a philodendron. I know, shocking. What happened is this plant was classified as a philodendron, but as biology evolves and we have more ways to looking into plants, some plants are actually changing their scientific names because they are changing genus, and that's what happened with this plant. This happened with another plants too, like for instance the snake plant used to be known as a Sansevieria, but now the snake plant is now a Dracaena. So the split leaf philodendron is now known as, and I'm not even going to try to pronounce that, but that's how Google says it.
Thaumatiphyllum natividum.
Yeah. So there you go. So I will continue to call it a split leaf philodendron, a split leaf, or split leaf philo for short, because I just can't pronounce this. Anyways, so those are the 2 plants, the most polemic plants. Let's talk about the other plants that got thrown into this polemic as well. This plant, for instance, I got this plant labeled as a split leaf philodendron, and somebody pointed out to me that it's not. This plant is known as Rhaphidophora tetrasperma, and yes, it took me just a week to learn how to pronounce that. But this plant is also known as a mini Monstera, but it's not a Monstera, it just looks like it. But the main difference is in the size. So this plant can grow for years and years and years, and will never grow leaves much larger than this. It will never grow those big leaves that a Monstera has. So there you go for this one. Another plant that has sparked a lot of confusion is this one. So somebody posted that they bought this label as a Swiss cheese philodendron, and this is actually a Monstera andersonii, and people know it as a Swiss cheese Monstera, Swiss cheese plant. And the difference between this and the Monstera Deliciosa is also the size of the leaves. This will not grow really large leaves as a Monstera, and also this has much more fenestrations than the original Monstera. I mean, look at it, there were like more fenestration in this plant. But there you go. So these 4 plants are actually 3 different genus, but they are from the same family, the Araceae family. Araceae, like this.
Araceae.
They also have another thing in common. They all grow so fast. I mean, the Monstera is called a Monstera for a reason. It grows really fast and really big. So if you want a fast-growing plant, you can go for any of this. So there you go. I hope you like this video, and if you like it, you're gonna like this video in which I talk about my journey as a plant parent. Thank you for watching, and I see you soon. Bye!